Well, wasn't planning on doing this today, but Jeep had other ideas. So, on the WJ, been having a slow crank whenever it's after it's been running for a while and then it stops. So when it's heated up, when it's hot, next time you start it, it cranks a little slow, and it's always been starting without a problem. But that can be a sign that the starter's going bad. And then one other time, it didn't crank at all on me, and I thought it was maybe the neutral safety. It wasn't in park all the way because I rattled the shifter around a little bit and just rattled that around a little bit, and then it started up. Well, today I didn't do it either, and I crawled underneath it, banged on the starter a little bit, and then it started right up. So pretty sure that I'm thinking the starter is a problem. So got me my starter from AutoZone. It's a pretty simple replacement. Now just got 2 bolts to hold the starter on, 2 bolts and a clip for power to the starter. So first thing before you do anything with the starter is you want to disconnect the battery, because if you're pulling these apart and you arc across those, you'll actually crank the starter. And that's actually a trick I used to use in another vehicle when sometimes if the solenoid didn't work right, you can crawl underneath it and just put a wrench across those and crank your vehicle. But again, be careful doing that because that's direct power from the battery that you're going to be shorting there. So anyway, disconnect the battery before you get started on that, and then should be fairly simple to take it out. Anyway, get to it. So I've never done a starter on a WJ or a 4.7. Done plenty of them on the 4.0 and Cherokees and XJs, but there it is. But it looks to me that that's going to be a real pain in the butt to get out unless this upper control arm is removed, because the exhaust is right beneath it. Right there's one of my catalytic converters, which is probably still hot. Yep. And then there's the upper control arm. Upper control arm's not too hard. I've had it out before, actually, when I was putting the exhaust back together after I did the head gasket. So I'll take that out. Bolts there. And then up on the front is kind of a pain in the butt because they put these stupid Torx bolts in there. At some point I'll probably replace those, but for now it'll do. Anyway, I'm going to take that out and then go from there. Ooh-wee. It's a nice warm one in my garage today. It's about 100 degrees outside, but it's hotter in here. I have the door open, but it's hotter because, well, I just drove this in here, and so it's still pretty warm. It's heating up the garage. Yeah. Alright, so the reason I'm taking the tire off is because right here there's a little rubber piece right there on the frame, and right behind there, that bolt is for the top bolt on the upper control arm. So in order to get the upper control arm out, you need access to that. The other bolt, you can see kind of right there. So that looks like about a 15 on this side, and at the Torx on the other side. There we go. I think that's a T50. I don't really mark it very well, but I think that last number there is what that is. I think that's a T50. So when you take this one out, The nut on the other side, it's got that little flap on it, flange, whatever. So you don't need a wrench on it, but try not to do what I did and let the bolt fall down in there, because now I gotta find my pickup tool. And control arm out, which will hopefully provide me much better access to my actual goal, the starter. Looks like I should be able to get in there now. I think I got me my little clippy plug here. Ow. That starter is hot. I don't know how this thing comes off, if it squeezes off or if it just pulls off. Okay, and then it appears that's it. Just the hot, it grounds through the engine. So I just need that to get that off. And then I got a bolt back here, how hot, and wherever that other bolt is, which is going to be fun to find, it looks like. Looks like it's all the way on the other side there. Dang. Alright, I'm gonna have to figure that out. Alright, so 90% of the bolts on these things are some kind of metric, but it seems like for some reason they like to use 1/2 inch on the electrical connections. So I've noticed the battery is 1/2 inch, and this thing right here for the starter is also 1/2 inch. Now it's very possible that that's actually like 13 millimeter because they're really close. But you know what? 1/2 inch fits on really nice and easy. Oh, and the other bolt is actually right here. It's easy to get to as well. So it should be fairly easy, hopefully, to pull this thing out now that I got that control arm out of the way. Had to put some gloves on because, like I mentioned earlier, this thing was running, fairly recently. I drove it, and that's when it gave me a problem trying to start up after going into the store. And so I came out and I banged on just the case of the starter with a wrench, and then it started up. So that'll happen sometimes when the brushes in these starters, or even the solenoid sticks, you can bang on this as a solenoid too. If they get old and they start sticking, you can sometimes, if you turn the key and like nothing happens, but you can tell you got battery power, sometimes you can bang on it and it'll kind of jar them loose, and then you'll be able to start it. Not always, guaranteed to do the trick, but it's something to try, in a pinch, so that you're not stranded somewhere. It's just not quite enough room. I have to get a bigger wrench. Alright, I got the top bolt out, which actually wasn't as hard as I thought because it was strangely already loose. The bottom bolt, I got it loosened up, so I think I can take it out now. But yeah, both of those are 15 millimeter. Bottom one, I used this box end wrench because it got me in there just enough room that I could get on it like there, and I had to push on it down like that because if I was using a socket, the socket was just tipping off of the nut too much, or the bolt. So anyway, that top one I thought was going to be a real pain in the butt, but it actually turned out to be easy because it seemed like it was already a little loose, which is interesting. Oh, look at this. I was going to thread the top bolt back in just so it would hang on to it, right? So it wouldn't fall out on me. Look at that. You see that right there? Looks like there's like metal pieces. So somebody maybe torqued it in really tight and started stripping out that end, because that might be part of where it goes into the starter. Anyway, I'm going to clean that up and then put that top bolt back in just so it holds it, because you want to be careful when you pull both of these out that the starter doesn't fall on your face.
Okay. That's the bottom bolt. Alright. This thing is about 1,000,000 degrees right now. I just got the one bolt here and up there. That's all it's holding it in. I'm gonna need both hands to do this though, so I'm gonna need to get like a rag or something, because like I said, it's about 1,000,000 degrees, and even with gloves on, it's really hot. I can't hold on to it. So, all right, got the old one out. There's the old one next to the new one. Looks the same. This is got a Chrysler thing on it, so it looks to be the original starter. And this one has about 160,000 miles on it, so not surprising, I guess, that it needs to be replaced. Missing that little drain tube on the old one. I think that's what that is. As far as I can tell, the two bolts that came out of it, they look identical in length, and the thread, they match up. They're the same thread, both 15 millimeter. So I don't think it matters which one goes in, the top or the bottom. That one threads in there into the starter, and then the bottom one goes there into the bell housing. Alright, so I'm going to throw this thing in now. It goes just like that. Bingo. Once you get that top bolt in, it'll hold itself in. So that's nice. I just got it finger tight in there. And then the bottom one. This engine is 1,000,000 degrees right now. Problem I'm having right now is trying to get both my hands in here in a way that can reach that bolt. Okay, got the new starter in place. Got it all bolted in up in there. Wires connected back up. So just one other thing to note, when you're putting that terminal on there, this thing would only go on one way, so if it doesn't go on quite right, you know, it's got to rotate, because there's a little plastic piece there to keep it from, you know, turning. And also that terminal, you don't want to crank it down super hard, because you don't want to accidentally, you know, twist the bolt tight enough that it's going to stay on there. It's got a lock washer on it. Don't, you know, gorilla tighten it or anything. Anyway, there it is. Starter's in place. Yeah. Alright, just tested it and it cranks when I tap the key. So now I just got to put the control arm back in, upper control arm back on, and get the wheel back on, and then should be good to go.